When did you first watch professional wrestling?
I think it was when British wrestling was actually on TV back in the day with all like Big Daddy and Giant Haystacks and all that sort of stuff. And my brother was actually watching it, and it was just one of those things where you come in the room and you may as well sit down and watch it. So I watched it. No, I didn't think anything of it. If I caught the show, then I caught the show. And it wasn't until WWF started coming on Sky TV really late at night. It was on Sky 1 at like 12 at midnight, and I used to start recording it then. It was like an hour or 2 hours. Superstars of Wrestling, I think it was at the time. And that's when I really started getting into it. But I was never really a big British wrestling fan.
What made you decide you wanted to become a wrestler?
I didn't actually decide to do it. It's just one of those things that happened with me. I was just a fan like everyone else, you know. And I went along to. It was every 2 weeks they had British wrestling at Chelmsford Chancellor Hall, and it was All Star, and there'd be people like Brookside, Kendo Nagasaki. Even got to see Steve Regal down there one time, which was good. And one night, me and my buddy, Robbie the Rocker Thomas, who he turned out to be, we hung around afterwards always to get autographs and things like that from the guys. And what happened? Someone was there buying the ring, that was it. And I don't know who it is to this day, but he said, oh, there's a guy here buying the ring and he runs a wrestling school. Go up and talk to him. So we went upstairs, and at this time I still... I believe like the whole wrestling thing was, real and stuff like that. And went upstairs, and where they get changed in the Chancellor's Hall is just one long corridor. It's like a small thing. And that's when I sort of thought to myself, hang on. Because they came out separate doors, but it was just one long corridor, connecting corridor, that they must have all changed together. And I thought, that's a bit weird. How do like the good guys and the bad guys like get changed together and like not beat each other up backstage stuff? So that sort of stuck in my head for that reason. And we went upstairs, spoke to the bloke, turned out to be Andre Baker. He was still fat, and he was buying the ring. We just said, we want to come train him, and he said come down to, it was in Ashford at the time, Hammerlock, and we got his number and stuff, gave him a call. I was driving at the time, and just went down, started training.
And what were your initial thoughts on training? What was your first session like, if you remember?
I don't remember my first session, but I remember where it was in Ashford. It was in the High Street, and it was in like, you go up these stairs into a bar, and it'd be a bar with like a pool table on the left and like this ring on low setting. It must have been like a 10 foot by 10 foot ring. It was crap. Ropes were rubbish. It wasn't too bad to bump on actually, but I just walked in, I thought, oh my god, there's a wrestling ring, and I just went in and laid in it, like in the star shape, and just like looked around my surroundings. Couldn't believe I was just so happy to be in a wrestling ring. And just pissed around, with Robbie, just copying what we've seen on TV and stuff like that. And that was it, Hammerlock is you're not trained by Andre when you're in Hammerlock. You're trained by guys who he's training at the moment, and there are good guys and bad guys. And as far as who trained me, I credit people while I was there, basics wise, believe it or not. Guy Phil Powers taught me how to bump, which is probably why I don't bump that great. Justin Richards, Alex was there, but I don't think he really helped me with the training. I came in at a point when a lot of guys were coming in, like Mr. Muscles, Adam Mansfield. Justin hadn't been there that long. Doug was there, Alex was there, and we'd all just get in the ring and piss around, and we learnt that way. It wasn't, we were taught, right, this is how you lock up, this is how you get a wrist lock, stuff like that. It was get in there, do it, and that was it, pretty much.
Okay. What do you think inspired you to get into the business? Was it a person particularly, or someone you idolised? I don't know, I had favourite wrestlers growing up, if that's what you mean, but as far as anyone I watched and I thought, oh my god, I want to get into wrestling because of them, there was no one. Just, I was like the biggest fan there could be,
I've still got a lot of it at home, but I used to collect all the programs and every t-shirt. I couldn't wait for like the catalogs to come out in WWF magazine. I'd order loads of stuff. Not really any people who inspired me to do it, just I love wrestling, and I got involved in wrestling. It just happened like that. It's not something I planned on doing, and luckily it worked out quite well.
Did you have any previous sporting background before you got into wrestling?
Not really. I played just like the normal stuff, football, rugby in school, stuff like that. I didn't really excel in anything amazingly. I just played it and I enjoyed it. Played badminton. It kind of helped me in a way because like a few years later I kicked Jody's ass when we played badminton down Walthamstow. But it's all good.
As you say, you trained with likes of sort of Doug Williams, George Castano, Jody Fleisch, Justin Richards, some of the bigger name UK stars at the moment. What was that like? What sort of effect would you say that it had on your career?
Jody and George and Scotty all came in about a year after me, and I didn't really know them at the time. I can't remember. What did I think of them? Is that the question?
Well, what sort of effect did it have on you training with Doug Williams, Justin, and then training with like Jody and George when they arrived?
Just, I don't know, it was just, we were all at the same level, I guess. Justin had been working a little bit more, Doug had been working a little bit more, but we were all pretty much doing the same stuff and just sort of getting a feel of what wrestling's all about, you know. You could pick up stuff, I guess, just by, you know, pissing around with someone. If it hurt, then I guess you go looser on it or whatever. Or if there was something you wanted to try it, you just say, you know, would you mind getting in and doing a little bit with me? I remember, one thing I do remember quite clearly is Alex Shane, when he used to get his ass kicked by this massive guy called Titan, big 6 foot, you know, powerhouse guy, and he just used to powerbomb him and absolutely kill Alex. And he was a young guy at the time, you know, he was really young. He started when he was like 14 or something, and when he was in Hammerlock, and I think that affected him later on in life with like as far as injuries go and stuff like that, because he's always had like that twitch thing, or he used to have. I think it's sorted now, but that was from Titan just killing this poor kid, and Andre would just obviously not give a shit and just like, you know, let's get Mavis in the ring and get his ass kicked by Titan, that would be fun. And of course he put him on with him on all the hall shows as well, which was stupid because this little kid getting beaten up, and it didn't really make much sense to do it other than to laugh at Alex getting beaten up, which no one found funny except Andre.
How long were you training before you made your debut?
I don't know. I don't think it was very long. I remember my first match. It was a 10-minute time limit draw because we both refused a job. It was in Sittingbourne, Kent, in some crap hole. Must have been about 40 people there. I had a pair of purple tights on, and someone chanted "Come on, Ribena" tights at me, which I was upset about. But we didn't, no crowd interaction or anything like that. It was just, we had the whole 10 minutes planned. It didn't actually go 10 minutes, it went about 6 minutes. But yeah, that was good.
Who was the match against?
Robbie the Rocker. We were like best mates at the time, you know. We'd go to WWF shows when they come to England and like hang around at the hotels and stuff and get autographs, and we got to know a few of the guys, you know, and it was pretty cool. So we were just best mates. We just muck around in his garden, just doing stuff. I actually, this is a story. The Frankensteiner, the very first one I did was all because of Ross, the Boss Gordon, because we were at the Walthamstow show with Sabu. I don't think it was first one, second one, whatever, but Ross and Kenny were there, and they were best mates. And we were walking outside after the show, and Ross just runs in front of us. We didn't know who he was or anything. Jumps up at Kenny, he like bases him, and hits this Rana. And we're like, fuck! You know, this little wanker is hitting a Rana. We're training to be wrestlers, we can do that. So we went straight back to Robbie's house and just started doing it in the garden and hitting Ranas, and like, he's got a tape of it somewhere of me just running at him and like hitting a Rana. It's quite funny, but Ross taught me how to do a Frankensteiner.
What are some of your most memorable matches during your time at Hammerlock?
None. No, I was at Hamlock for 4 years, and I don't really credit that to my career at all. I credit that for maybe teaching me the basics, and that was it as far as I was concerned. As soon as I left, that's when I started learning, you know. Memorable matches. Just, I had some good matches with Robbie, but I think because we were best mates, it really, really helped, obviously, because, you know, we always talked about it and practiced it as much as we could, stuff like that. I used to hate going on with other people because, you know, obviously I was scared to because I didn't know them, stuff like that. Obviously, when Jody and George and Scotty came in, like sort of my size, stuff like that, my style, and Andre, you know, saw that we had like a little connection there, and we started doing, that was probably my first inkling of high flying stuff, you know, when he sort of put me and Jody together, because no one else could do that sort of stuff in Hamlock back then. It was just me, and Jody came in and started doing some stuff as well, so he put us together, and that was like the start of it.
Okay, any other memorable thoughts on Hammerlock apart from matches? Stories or anything?
Maybe not. One time we were driving to training, and we were at traffic lights. It was at Lakeside, and it was a red light, and I looked in my wing mirror, and this this motorbike just goes jacked up the back of my car. So I was like, oh my god, my car's been hit. The car's like up like this now. So I thought my car's like kick this guy's ass. He's on the ground, knocked out. And I was like, yeah, lucky for you, fuck. Not that I'd have done anything, you know. And we were on our way to training. And obviously we couldn't go training because my car was knackered. And so we got like a tow home, and then we get a call later, or Robbie got a call from Alex, who was like Andre's sort of boy at the time. And he said, why don't you come training today? And we were like, well, sorry mate, we had an accident, you know, nothing you can do. And he was like, well, if you're not going to come train every week, then you shouldn't come at all. You know what I mean? And basically what it was, Andre wanted his tenner a week. He wanted us to come, because we started going every other week, and that pissed him off, because it's a tenner less for him, right? Or 20 quid, because there was two of us. And he'd always get like Alex or someone to just call us up and remind us to come training. Not that he gave a shit, but just because he wanted his money for whatever. Funny stuff was, this was kind of cool. It was back in the day when we were all like, we're still marks, but we were like training to wrestling, and we had cliques, and we had a group of us called the Clique. It was me, Robbie the Rocker, and Alex, and we were not feuding with, but like our enemy in Hamlet was called the Four Horsemen, and it was Justin, I think it was Guy Thunder, Mike White, the referee, and I think it was Muscles Mansfield, stuff like that. So whenever we were working in the ring, I think the Click sign was, oh yeah, it was that, and the Four Horsemen sign was obviously that. So when we're working in the ring, you know, I'd be selling, I'd take a bump like that, you know, and because Mike would be refereeing, he'd be like, 1, 2, 3, 4, you know, stuff like that. So that was pretty funny. What other stuff happened? Nothing great. Nothing major. Just spent a lot of money. And that was it. Got to meet some people, you know, it was cool. I'm very grateful for my experience at Hamlet, don't get me wrong, you know, because I don't like it because of the way it was handled when I left, which we'll get to later, I guess, but for coming through, I couldn't have asked for a better place, well, better talented bunch of guys, Doug, Alex, Jody, George, you know, coming in at the same time and looking at where we are now is just fantastic, you know, so it was the right time, you know, being in the right place at the right time, and I'm very, very grateful for that.
Okay, moving on a little bit. What led to you leaving Hammerlock?
What led to me leaving Hamlet? It was going shit with me and Andre for a while, for some reason, I can't remember. And then I decided to promote a show, like before it was going shit, in Hartford, at the Castle Hall. So I was doing like all the posting for it, the hall, you know, I got Andre hooked up, all that sort of stuff, did everything I could. And I can't remember exactly what happened. it got to the night of the show. No, actually, the week before, he was being a dick to me, and I hadn't heard anything from him. Normally, like, he'd call me or I'd speak to him on the phone, and I got a call because I didn't bother ringing him because I thought, shit, I'm done with Hamlock, you know. I didn't know whether I was going to turn up to the show or anything. And I got a call from Amanda, which was on Andre's bird. And she never calls me. Never calls me. So I knew, he's still got the ump for whatever reason. And he's just making sure, like, his investment is there in Hartford and that I'm going to be there. I was like, yeah, cool. I felt good. So I got to the show, wanted to talk to Andre, and he sort of blew me off. I thought, oh, you fucker. And that was it. It was like, it was going to be a haircut match. It was a tag team match. It was me and someone against Gary Steele and Andre. No, it was me and Andre, sorry, against Gary Steele. It might have been Paul Travell, actually. And it was a haircut match anyway. And Andre was the one who was going to get his hair shaved, right? And he was already bald from before, right? But you'd have thought the geezer, he knew about it like a month or two before. He'd at least let his hair grow a little bit, you know what I mean? So he turns up on the day, freshly shaved. I said, Andre, what are you doing, man? You're getting your head shaved tonight, you know, what's the point? You know, and he was a fucking cock to me. I thought, oh, right, something's going to happen tonight then. We went in there, did the match. I've got it on tape somewhere, and like every time I went to tag him, he was like, and I'd be tagging him, like, a fucking cock, you know, and the match went alright though. After the match, I went up to him, I thought it was good. Gary still thought it was good. I think it was Travell. He thought it was good. I went to Andre, I was like, really good, yeah, and he was like, no, could have fucking tagged me, and he was like, oh, you took the whole fucking match, all this sort of shit. I was like, fuck it, I'm gone. And there was a rumble that night I was meant to be in. And I just packed my bag because I thought, shit, he's going to get everyone to just kick the fuck out of me in the rumble because he knows that's it, I know that's it. So I went outside with all my shit in my ring gear and to have it all ready, just so as soon as I got eliminated, I was going to drive out the building. I actually had my car keys in my sock. And Alex came out, and Alex was like really tight with Andre at the time, so I was like, oh shit, I was really a bit wary. And he came up to me and he said, are you leaving? And I said, no, you know, just pretending like everything was cool. And he said, look, here's my number, give me a call next week, or something like that. And I was like, okay, mate. Went in, did the rumble, got out, got in my car, drove off. Fuck it, he could keep the fucking money or whatever, because I was meant to get half on the show or whatever. And that was it. I don't think he ever called me again, or I ever spoke to him, or ever even saw him again. But it was the best thing I've ever done. I know that.
Okay, what did you do from then on out? From
there, I think I went to, there was a UWA show, which was UWA in Enfield at the Epping Country Club. Epping Country Club. And Doug was on it, and a few people I knew. Yeah, and it turns out I met a few people there, a guy called Mark Sloan, a guy called Jody, who had left before me. And I remember Jody coming up to me, I was just sitting on like the side with Robbie, and he goes, shit man, you got big. And I was doing a little bit of training, but I wasn't really training properly, yeah. And he was like, oh my god, I can't believe how big you got. He was like really surprised. And I was like, yeah, you know it. And we watched this show, and it was shit. No, it was alright. It was Doug against Phil Powers, that's right, and Linsky fucked up the finish with the throwing the powder. He couldn't get it out of his pockets. He'd stand on the apron like this for half an hour while Doug's there waiting to take it. And I think I got Jody's number that night. I don't know if I got Mark's number or not. But after that, that was like, someone just said to me, you know, there is other stuff other than wrestling, you know. I think it must have been Jody or Scott, because they were saying they were working the camps and stuff like that with Conway. So I knew there was life. And around about this same time as well, Alex, I was speaking to Alex on the phone, he was like, look dude, you know, there is life after Hamlock, you know, because I was ready to quit. I thought I was done. I didn't realise, because I was in Hamlock for 4 years, and I was programmed to think, if you leave Hamlock, that's it. Your career's over, there's nothing else. And Alex was saying there is other stuff out there, you know, you got to stay, you know, get in touch with promoters, things like that. And I think my first show after Hamlet was CCW, right, in Birmingham, and I got paid £20 that night, and it was different, I guess. I can't remember who I worked. I might have been Rob.
Jason Cross.
Jason Cross, it was Jason Cross. Jason Cross, first time I met him, and he was putting himself over. Little did I know about Jason Cross then, but he was a twat. And yeah, I worked him, we had a decent match. The Webb brothers who ran it, they were crazy. They were like, thought they were Vince McMahon or something like that, had contracts, they had scripts written out of the match of what we were to do and when we were to do it, and yeah, I didn't know any better and stuff like that, so I was like, okay, went and done it. Did CCW, Jody was there as well, I think. And after that, I don't know what.
After then, it was a couple of weeks to the first FWA show.
Was that what it was? Who called me for that? I think, is it Jode? It might have been Jody. He called me up and said, yeah, he got me on the show. And he said, you'll be working me, and it was like a tournament or something like that. And that was down the Mountbatten Centre, was it? In Portsmouth, right near Mark Sloan's house, like 5 minutes away, in this village hall. And that was the first night I met Steve Linsky, and he put himself over, man. He was like he was doing an American accent, but doing it all the time. Like, to everyone he spoke to, he was doing the American accent, so everyone thought he was American for reasons that are beyond me to this day. And he really put himself over, like he's some big shot promoter, and he books people and he runs shows and stuff like that. So we went out. Me and Jody did a decent match from what I can remember. And actually, I did a bit with George. We did some stupid thing we'd seen on WWF television like a month before or whatever, where I get a chair at the start of the match. No, we both had chairs. He puts his down, and I did the little tap on his head. He goes down, like, takes a massive bump, and I pin him 1, 2, 3. Next match was against Jody, which was really good. Blew everyone away, which I don't know why, I don't know how we worked out a good match, because I still didn't know shit. And then Linsky afterwards, I heard, is going around telling everybody that he's mine and Jody's manager. And he manages our bookings and all this kind of stuff. And he's, you know, just putting himself over. Which is, you know, Simon, he's cool, whatever. And that was the very first FWA show, man. And that's where it all began for me and Joe and everybody, you know, because...
Any thoughts on what happened at the end with the Rumble?
The Rumble with the Crow. I don't know what happened. I really didn't know what happened, because I remember being in the Rumble, I got eliminated, and then someone comes running back, it might have been Mark actually. He said, everyone get in the ring now. And I didn't know whether he meant it was a work or a shoot or what. And what happened was, it just looked like a Rumble to me. There was about 10 of us all standing on the stage just watching it. So I thought, oh, he just wants us to come out and watch it. But apparently, like, someone went mad. And Scott was chinning everyone. And George was getting beaten up. And this guy called the Crow took over. And I don't know what the fuck happened. I just know that we ran out and stood on the stage and watched people get beaten up legitimately, even though I thought it was all the work, and we all went home with no money. And that was it. That was FWA, baby. And that's not too far from where we are today. Next.
I guess after this you started trying to work on the circuit with Brian Dixon's All-Star Promotions.
Shit. You know what? I know it now. Before that, I got a job. Justin had left at this time. Guy Thunder had left. I don't think Alex had left yet. And either Justin or somebody hooked me up with a guy called Shane Stevens. And, yeah. He was a dodgy guy. He was so dodgy. And he ran a show. It was really good. It was, I can't remember who it was. I think it was Aylesbury. Because it was like a round building like the Albert Hall, but a little bit smaller, and you walk downstairs and it's like round, and it was really cool. It was packed, and I was there with Justin and Guy, and I don't know how I worked that night. I don't know, but we got thrown into that old school environment at the deep end. You know, we were in the changing rooms, no one spoke to us, we got evil looks from everyone. There was big people there, John Prater, Carl Kramer, people like that, big guys just looking down on us, and there was, of course, there was a rumble probably for our benefit, you know, and we knew that they told people just to like batter us and stuff like that. So I shit myself a little bit going into the rumble that night. Kramer, I was like, of course, number 1 or number 2, so I was there just to be beaten up. And Kramer gave me a couple of splashes, and I just got my adrenaline up so much that he came in stiff, but I didn't really feel it, thank God. And then he just like launched me out. And as I came backstage, all the guys are lined up like to go through, and they were all like looking at my chest and all like for chop marks and stuff like that, and saying no, it wasn't red enough and stuff like that. But yeah, that was, I guess, my first inkling of old school wrestling shows. From there, I guess it went to maybe Pinhead, Steve Barker, did a few for him, and then from there it went to Dixon. I remember when I was working for Dixon in Croydon one time, none of these promoters liked me, because I guess I came across as like arrogant, cocky, because I was young, I didn't have a clue. And Scott Conway hated me at the time. I remember he hated me. I remember Jody telling me that he hated me on the stairwell or something like that, because I just wanted to work for anybody. And I don't know, I just started doing the circuit, I guess, and learned a lot.
Well, one of the biggest shows of note after that was the UWA TV taping at Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
Your thoughts when you came out to the arena?
Oh, I was blown away. I couldn't believe it. I didn't think, I thought it was just going to be another show, you know. It was Phil Powers booking it. I got a call maybe a week or 2 before from Phil, who I'd known from Hammerlock, because I used to give him a lift. He lived in Chelmsford, I lived in Harlow, so I used to drive, pick him up. We used to go train together, so I got quite matey with him. And he called me up and he said, you know, I'm running the show, would you be interested in doing it? It's for TV. Fuck yeah, definitely, you know. Went down, went into Crystal Palace, it looked wicked. I was like, oh my God, are we really doing this, you know? I didn't have a clue what was going on though the whole day. They had some bird there, some fit bird, Jamelia or someone like that, like a page 3 model, and she was interviewing Chris Daniels backstage, and he cut a really good promo. I thought, fuck, I really want to do a promo. But they didn't want me to do anything like that. But I actually ended up wrestling 4 times that night, and I didn't really work much out in any of the matches. When I watched it on TV, it made sense, but like my first match was me against Paul Sloan, then it was a tag match, then it was me against Jason Cross, and then it was like a 10-man elimination rumble thing where the champion is UWA champion or what, TV champion, whatever it was. Crystal Palace, awesome venue, loved it. Backstage, didn't really know anyone except Dougie, Jody, a few other guys who like weren't on the show but I knew them and stuff like that.
And Linsky was there.
Linsky was there, yeah. He was my manager, I do believe. I didn't have a clue what I was doing. That's how good it was, you know. They just put you in front of the bloody slidey thing and say you're up next. And that's all I knew, you know. Paul Sloan had just started. I don't think he had a match. So that might have been his first or second match, which was pretty... It was alright for what it was, but nothing amazing, I don't think. It was alright. But it was just, I guess, Phil needed a lot of workers, and he didn't know a lot of workers, so I guess that's how I got into it. But it was good.
Okay, did they make you any promises or anything like that as to what they were going to do or how they're going to use you with regard to the UWA?
When I first arrived, not really. I was just another one of the wrestlers, but I actually, when they saw I got over with the crowd, then I guess they thought that, oh, he's actually quite good, you know, we could use him as one of our regular guys. And of course, knowing Phil quite well didn't hurt me, you know, because Phil, I guess, put me in.
You're also part of the famed UWA docudrama.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I think that around that time was when me and Jodie were like really start being really like good best mates, you know. And I was round his house and it was actually being shot in Walthamstow in some boxing gym or something like that. And we went through these doors, and our part in the documentary was we were there to be trained to be wrestlers, even though we were wrestlers at the time, you know. It was like my first experience with cameras, and they were just like following us around, so I was doing the old pretending the camera's not there, looking around like, oh, wow, I want to be a wrestler. And Jodie done some stupid skit. It was before this, where I think he went up Canary Wharf and he was working out in the gym, and his arms were like mosquito bites on spaghetti strands, you know, at the time. Yeah, he had his arm in a cast, and he was like working out. No, Phil did, sorry. Phil was working out. And he had to go up to Phil and say, "What's that? Still bothering you?" And it was so shit. It really was shit. But I think that's what made Jodie the man he is today. That experience in television, because he's so good with cameras and stuff. And that was about it. But that's all I did in the documentary, thank God. I didn't do too much after that other than just pissing around in the ring. The ring broke actually. It was on the second floor, and because there was like 10 guys in it, we had a little rumble at the end. It broke through the floorboards and almost cost Andrew Martin like £2,000 to repair it.
What do you think of the reasons the UWA didn't survive as long as it should have done?
They didn't have a clue. Dan Belinka worked for the WWF. Ooh. What did he do? He produced TV. Andrew Martin didn't have a clue about wrestling. He was just money, so he shouldn't really have had a say, but he had a say. Phil Powers was booking it. Alright, he's a wrestler. He knows what he's doing. I mean, Phil Powers today could probably do a good job. But back then, obviously, he'd only been wrestling maybe 2 years more than me. So what did he know? What did I know? There wasn't anyone capable of running the company. But they got a good run out of it, you know. They had the slot on live TV. They run a few shows. They lost their arse in Blackpool. But the third Blackpool show was decent. There's nothing you could do. The way I see it, from my perspective, it benefited me because it was my first chance to work with cameras and television. Not that I knew what I was doing, but like be aware that they're there. Maybe learn the little things like hard cam is here, you know, and try and maybe work to hard cam if I can.
Okay, shortly after that was your match with Jodie Fleisch, the second FWA show. It was also taped for a TV pilot. Your thoughts on that match?
Was that no surprise? Pyramids was wicked. I remember that day, I think I stayed over at Mark Sloan's house that night. Yeah, I think I did. And I remember I fucked my hand from wrestling the night before in the camps or something like that. It was the first time I've ever hurt myself. Because I remember I just taped it out with yellow tape. It looked stupid. But yeah, Mark said it was going to be a pilot for TV, which was wicked. He had cameras there, which was wicked. Pyramids was a really good venue. He got people in. He had a video wall, right? Did he have a video wall? First ever time with a video wall, so I was like, oh, wow, this is wicked. Got to work Jodie, of course, so we were good mates at the time, like I was saying, from UWA. So we were becoming real good friends, and like we were maybe starting to train a little bit more together, I guess, as well. And we had a really good match for its time. Memories from the match, I guess, would be Jodie's stupid tights, these baggy kung fu things, and his stupid long hair, which was like this afro ponytail. I had long hair as well at the time, but mine looked good. I had my Storm tights on, which looked pretty good, with a little lightning bolt down the back. What else happened that night? Oh, the security incident, which I thought we were going to get killed. We just brawled into the crowd, then some big dude grabbed me, threw me in the back. Jodie was there. and they just like stood there like this, and I thought they were going to kick the shit out of us. I really did, because I remember actually earlier in the night they said no one go over the rail. I remember that. It's just coming to me now, and I thought they were going to kill us. I really thought we were dead. And I was like, what about the match? What about the match? And then I think they just pushed us onto the ramp, or maybe pushed us back out. No, they pushed us back out through the crowd, which didn't make sense since they didn't want us into the crowd. But we carried on the match, and I thought it was good. FWA ring is sweet. It's always been good. It was actually padded back then. But yeah, that was no surprises, one, and a real good experience. Learning.
Okay. After that, you just continued working around the scene, or?
I guess so, yeah, maybe. I did. Yeah, no, just here, there and everywhere.
Didn't you and Jody have lots of matches around the country, like TWA, Southampton, Guildhall?
The ones I remember, we did a load of hardcore matches for Pinhead. We did a few of them, and they were good. Herne Bay was a really good one. I did a stupid spot. It was good for me, bad for him. Where I got a dustbin lid, obviously it was a dustbin lid, and he's on the other side of the ring, and I'd just throw it at him like that, like a frisbee, and it'd be like dunk, like that, or in the derby or whatever, like that, and he'd fold over, and it didn't hurt me whatsoever. So I was real happy with it, and I powerbombed him on bins. I think we did a few ladder spots. I remember not taking too much punishment in that match and just beating up Jody. Sorry, Joe. But we were doing a few of those, and a few of them were real good. I got a little music video at home. It's on one of my Jonny Storm rare and unreleased DVDs, and it's got loads of clips like me powerbombing Jody on a bin, and that's where it's from. It might even have the frisbee shot, because it was christened the frisbee spot. Pinhead at this time was having his love affair with Jody as well, so that's why I think I was getting booked. Jody might have had something to do with that, but that's a different story, I guess, for his interview.
Okay, moving on to WrestleXpress, sort of.
WrestleXpress. Brian Houston, eh?
Right, for the show, obviously they contacted you. Can you tell us a little bit about that? What sort of promises?
Originally I wasn't on the show. Was I not on the show? It wasn't it Mr. Perfect in the main event against someone.
Rob Van Dam.
Yeah.
Legion of Doom.
And I thought, oh my god, I've got to get on this show. It was at Coventry Skydome. And it wasn't actually, I don't know how I got contacted to get on the show, but I remember they were doing promos for the commercial in London, and they put us up in like a 5-star hotel right next to Tower Bridge. It must have cost an absolute shitload. And they had me, Jody, Steve Knight, Kerry Cabrero, Dominator, Jimmy Hart, Sonny Ono, and what happened? A few of the memories was Dominator brought his missus at the time, and I remember a load of them going off into one of these rooms just to like do these like naked shots of her or something like that, and I wanted to get in. And I was trying to think of all these ways to get in, like climbing over balconies and shit like that, but we were so high up it couldn't happen. That night we had dinner, all of us round a table with Ryan Houston. He had some old guy with him, I guess he was his minder or something like that, and Houston was being a dick. He was being such a dick to like the waiter. He was like, wine, you know, give me some wine, I want more food. He's having this, and he'd open up his wallet, you know, and you'd see all this money in there. He had loads of money. No one knows where it come from or whatever, but he was loaded, he was being a dick. He got totally fucking rat-assed. It was stupid. And like afterwards, we all went to the bar, of course, where he had his 20 bottles of wine on standby, and one by one, he was just going to have a chat with us and our part in the company and stuff like that. And it must have taken 2 hours to get for about 8 people, because the geezer's fucked. He's absolutely fucked. he's just sitting there talking, you know. Johnny, Jody, this is what we're going to do with you. That's why I want you to. He was like, we were meant to sign I think we were meant to sign a contract there and then, or we did sign a contract there and then. Something we signed, I'm sure we did. And he was meant to explain to us what they were going to do with us and stuff like that, but he didn't say shit. He just had a little siesta in the middle of it. And the next day we were filming the commercial for WrestleXpress. And I had Croydon, I had a day show at Croydon for Dixon. And I really didn't want to miss the commercial, but I couldn't let Dixon down because he'd go mad. So I said to Ryan, dude, I've got to get to this show. I'll come right back as quick as I can, yeah? If I can get a cab, I can get there quicker, obviously. So he whipped out 50 quid. Boom! Gave it to me, and he was like, just get a cab and get back as quick as you can. I walked out the front of the hotel, there was no cabs. I thought, fuck this. Went and got a travel card for a £5, went to Croydon, got there, and got my way back and made 45 quid out of it. Cheers, Ryan. Where's the love? And felt good to screw a promoter. That might have been my debut on screwing promoters. Yeah, and that was that. We shot some stuff for the commercial, which was actually really good with Jimmy Hart and Sonny Ono. Just pissing around, cutting promos and stuff like that. Apparently there is a commercial going around. I never got to see it, but I got a picture of that day of us guys standing in front of London Bridge, which was pretty cool. But that was WrestleXpress, the Brian Houston part.
Yeah. When did you realise that WrestleXpress was probably never going to happen? I mean,
that
FWA pulled out.
That night, when he passed out or whatever, when he was talking to us, how can you have a guy like that who's serious? He's a fucking idiot. He's a fucking idiot. He was young as well, it turns out. I didn't know anything about the guy, but he was 19. Was he 19 or something? And, yeah, I knew then it wasn't going to come off, which was a real shame. And to this day, Sonny Ono and Jimmy Hart are owed thousands of pounds, and I think they're suing him, or tried to sue him, something like that. Because I spoke to Jimmy Hart about it, and he was like, that fucker still owes me money, you know. But you won't see it.
Okay. Well,
it was taken over by...
yeah, it was taken over by Scott Conway at a week's notice.
A week's notice, which Scott got a lot of stick for taking it over in the end, because it was moved to Dagenham and all this kind of stuff. But I spoke to Scott about this load, yeah, and I don't know if I got this exactly right, yeah, but the pre-sales for this show were ridiculous. It was like 20 grand or something like that. But Scott was like, fuck, I'm going to take this over, you know, I can make some money. But then he realised that the Coventry Skydome insisted on things like their own lighting rig, their own security, all these fucking extra costs, which worked out to like 40 grand. So Scott was like, bollocks, I'm not doing that, I'm going to move it to Dagenham. I'm not going to have like certain workers on the bill anymore. He brought over Carino, he brought over Sandman, which was decent replacements as far as I was concerned. And he had Earthquake on it as well, actually, who was touring with Scott at the time. And I reckon he'd done his best job. The geezer had a week to put on the show. It was either Scott put that show on within a week, or there'd been no WrestleXpress, you know. What would you prefer? People moaning about refunds and stuff like that. And Scott got all the heat, like I say, but from my perspective, the guy, you know, hats off to him, you know, because he took it over, and he did actually, he wanted to make money, but he wanted to keep it going because he saw there was a good buzz around this WrestleXpress thing. The only other thing I can recall is he told Sandman and Carino that night not to use the ladder. Out of everything, don't use the ladder, because we were doing the TLC match. So of course they used the ladder all over the place, but it didn't matter because we went out there and ripped it up, my son. Okay. Me and Jerome.
Okay, your thoughts on the match and how it went? Any memorable moments from it? The TLC match.
Yeah. I guess it was our usual match. Or no, we were starting to do some good shit though. Then it was like, this is, I guess, kind of a big step. We were real good mates at the time. like hanging out all the time, just doing stuff out of wrestling, which really helps if you're working with someone. And I guess we were best mates at the time. We might have gone training a few times and we just got all our shit down. I remember working out a few times, I don't think it was for this show, but in his garden. He's always had this thing about, he wants to open up a wrestling school by putting bed mattresses down in his garden to bump on and stuff like that and train people. I don't think he understands what would happen if it would rain. Waterbed training, maybe. But we had a real decent match for its time. TLC, doing stuff people have never seen before. And to this day, I've always wanted to do a TLC match, or just a ladder match, actually, with Jody on a big stage, because I've got so many spots in my head, and I'm sure he has, that we could do crazy, crazy shit, but we'd be able to pull it off, and it would look wicked. But hopefully, that time will come. But I remember I did one spot which everyone raved about, which wasn't planned or anything like that. I climbed a ladder, Jody was on the outside, I jumped off the ladder onto the top rope, springboarded up, and I was like, shit, what do I do? So I just sort of did like in midair, and thank God he caught me good. And everyone raved about that spot, but it was actually pretty easy because the ladder was quite close to the top rope, so unless you're a spaz, you're not going to fall off. Stiff Jody in the match, which is always good. We did the wall unit, which was good. I don't know who went over. Who went over? Probably him. He goes over all the time. Doesn't bother me. Who's still wrestling now? No, it was probably him. But good luck to him, you know. He needed it, you know. He's a shy kid.
Okay. Do you know anything about the supposed booking of Juventud Guerrera for the show?
Not for that show. I know Scott brought over Hoovy. Maybe it was just he got offered him at some point. I don't know.
Okay, moving on to January 2002. You main evented the first FWA Academy show against Jody. What do you remember about that match? It was different from your match you were having at that time.
Yeah, I don't know why. I think because we might have been being lazy, it might have been. We just thought, fuck it, we're going to do a wrestling match. Because we can wrestle. Not many people know it, but we can wrestle. And Dino was there, and Scott was there in the back watching, so we wanted to put on a bit of a show for them. And yeah, we went out there and we did a decent story, actually, on a story wrestling match. We put in our high spots, but we did it, I think, much later. We toned it down and brought it back down. We did Tragedy spot, which, I don't want to give it away because I still do it now. It's called Tragedy spot because Steps have the song Tragedy, right, and they do that. So when I've got Jody pinned down like that, or someone's got me pinned down like that, it's obviously that position, so we call it Tragedy spot. And that might have been one of the first times we hit that, where I boost him up. He can stand on my shoulders, flip him off, and he does the backflip onto his feet. And we wrestled, man, and we told a real good story. I know Dino loved it. And it got over with the crowd, which was strange, because I guess they wanted us to do high spots, which we did. But I guess that might be one of the first few times that I started storytelling, maybe, a bit more than boom, 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 boom.
Okay, moving on to your first tour of the States. You wrestled for CZW, HWA, Ring of Honor, amongst others. You wrestled for New England wrestling, yeah. Just your thoughts on CZW?
We got into Philadelphia. We got stopped by customs. I had a bag full of t-shirts, like 50 t-shirts. And I thought I was going home. Luckily, he let us through. I don't know why. I don't know why he let us through. But I don't think there's anything I can do once you hit customs. I'm not too sure, because we've gone through immigration. But that shit me up. Then we got picked up at the airport. Was it by Zandig? I don't think we got picked up by Zandig. but we stayed at Zandig's house. Or was it John Zandig? John Zandig Jr., his son. He's a nutter. He's cool though. He's cool. We hung out with him and a guy called... No, it wasn't him. It was... who's the dude who dresses up like a zebra? Oh, what's his name? Everyone hates him. He's got like a long zebra skin coat he wears. Z-Bar. Z-Bar picked us up. We went to KFC and I remember they didn't do hot wings, which pissed me off. But anyway, he took us to Zandig's, I guess, and Zandig had a real nice house. We slept on the couch. The second day, B-Boy arrived, right? B-Boy arrived, and that was the first time we met Benny. He was cool. I think that was his first shot for CZW as well, maybe. We all stayed at Zandig's, hung out. We did the show during the day. We were there really early. Marked out a little bit for the arena. I was never a big ECW fan or anything. I was like straight-laced WWF only. We went to a place called Tony Luke's, which is like the best place to get Philly cheesesteaks in Philadelphia. It's like a 5-minute walk from the arena, and they got all pictures on the wall of like famous people who've eaten there and stuff. It's really cool. We met a load of the guys. I don't think we knew anyone, so we were sort of on our own in the dressing room. First match was against Johnny Kashmir. We didn't know him too well, but we went over on him, which surprised me a little bit, I guess. I remember saying to Jody, we need to give this guy most of the match because we're going over. Actually, I remember saying that. And Joe was like, yeah. And we did. I can remember one spot, I don't know why, where we both go for a backdrop, and he jumps up and stands on our back, and then jumps off and like comes back with like this fucking killer double clothesline. We both powdered. He hit some mad dive on Jody. Then he came right back in and dove at me, and it was so fucking fast I couldn't even catch him. I dropped him on his head. Sorry. I didn't mean to. But he reminds me of that to this day. But Johnny's cool. I love him. I stay with him in Philadelphia still. He's good. What else?
On to your second match.
We did our match. Me and Jody. We hit the States. We had the match down, man. We worked it out in England, in Portsmouth, with a certain other wrestler. Don't want to put him over. But we had a real good match down, man, and we hit all our shit. I don't know to this day how we done it, because I don't know. I blow up so bad now, and I don't know how I didn't blow up in that match. Maybe I did, but everything was right. Everything was right in that match, and to this day, it's the match I'm most asked about by fans all over the world, and I'm really happy with it. Afterwards, I got on the mic at the end of the show when we won the trophies, and everyone started laughing because in America they say CZW, don't they? And I said CZW or something like that, and you can see Trent and everyone laughing because I say Z or whatever it is they say in the States, so it's quite funny. I sold one t-shirt to Straw Hat Guy, it might have been actually. We did that. We did another show. We did Pottstown for Steve Corino, PWF. Was that the next day? It was like a couple of days later maybe. That was when we first met the SATs in Red. They were cool. Daniels was there, I think. Dragon was there. I only remember it was a little dressing room, which was pretty tight. We all got sort of changed on the stage and you go out through a side door. They did a cage match that night. C.W. Anderson, Corino. From there, we got on the Greyhound bus to go to Cincinnati to stay with Chad Collier, who worked for HWA. He had a developmental deal. That took like 20 hours, which was ridiculous. I don't know how we done that. Looking back at it now, I can't believe I did that. I'd rather just paid like $50 or $100 and got a flight down there. But I slept pretty much the whole way, and Jody didn't, because I remember he got chatting to some person on the bus or something like that, and went into the services and had lunch with them and that. And I just remember him telling me about it, and I was like, oh, hey, what's his name? And that was that. we ended up at Chad's. He picked us up, stayed at his, went training with one of the guys for one session, and it was horrible. It was really bad. They do these drills where WWF rings, obviously, I think it's 22 or 24 foot by 24 foot, which is, oh my god, in England, like, a big ring is 16. Blew us up, run to the corner, up and over, run to the other corner, up and over, guys following in like that, then run to the ropes, duck one, drop down, duck one, drop down, stuff like that, and it was horrible, and I almost puked actually. That's the closest I come to puking one day. Then we did a show that night. I wrestled Spanky for the first time, met him. I remember us saying we thought he was massive. He had these big biceps on him. He was like our height, and we were like, Jesus, how'd you get that big, you know? He was cool because he was slagging off people. So you thought, he's quite a cool character, because booking it, not so much booking it, he wasn't any higher than the other guys, but he sort of took the initiative, was Mike Sanders from WCW. And Spanky was saying, do whatever the fuck you want, you know what I mean? While Sanders was saying, you know, you do this and that. Spanky's like, fuck him, you know, do what we want, you know what I mean? And I had a good match with Spanky. I got that on tape, and it was cool working in the ring. I thought the bump was actually real good. The ropes were really good. It was just too big for me. And that's where I learned about short whipping people from the middle of the ring rather than going all the way back and shooting them off. You can do it from the middle of the ring, why not? Eh?
That's New England Championship Wrestling.
Went in for Sheldon, wrestled Jody. We were on last, I remember. It was in an arcade though, which was wicked. So we hung out for the day in this arcade. It was actually, we met Doug at that show, because he was come down Ring of Honor as well. And he was in Boston. We met Doug, which was fucking wicked, in the hotel. Went to the show in the arcade, played video games all day. And then they curtain off this bit of the arcade, put the ring in there, put some seats around. We were on last, they'd seen everything. The heat wasn't very good, but the match was good. And I was a heel. What do I remember about this match? Oh, I did a dive. I did my flip dive, and Jody caught it so well that I landed on my feet. So it got a massive pop, and then I kept running around the ring like doing a jog, go like this, and of course everyone sticks their hands out, and then I just, got in the ring, and that got a massive pop as well. But I remember the crowd were pretty shit for that, heat-wise, but the match was good. Then we travelled up with Sheldon to Philadelphia, which was took 9 hours when it should have taken about 4. And we did the Ring of Honor match.
Okay, backtracking a little bit to Revival at Crystal Palace Indoor Arena. Your thoughts on your match with Jody and the show in general?
Revival was when I really thought we could do something with British wrestling, you know. It was Tommy Boyd, it was TalkSport, which is obviously a big deal in England, and with the right people behind British wrestling, we're going to make it. And I thought, wow, they got the people in, the publicity was awesome. Thoughts from the show, you know, the thing that sticks out in my mind the most is when Alex came out and he does his whole show gimmick, and as he did it, they panned back and they had a shot of the whole entire crowd, yeah, and as he did it, the whole crowd did it with him, and it looked absolutely fantastic. It was like you'd be at a WWF show, something like that, you know, when they copy the stuff that people do, and it looked wicked. I thought, oh, we're going to have a good one tonight. So I was wrestling Jody again, and we sort of, there was just a ladder just sitting there, as it does at FWA shows. We thought, oh, we're not doing a ladder match, but how could we do something cool with a ladder? So we did I think we did a face-off spot, and then looked in the corner of our eye, and then he looked in the corner of his eye, and then we're like, yeah, let's go, and run. And we both pegged it out the ring, got the ladder, nailed Jody stiff, hit a dive on him, which was pretty cool. Brookside gives me a little bit of heat over that to this day about why would you go and run and get the ladder, and I tried to explain to him it's what we do, but it doesn't work, so that's him. But it was cool.
Did you nearly kill Jody just before that with a guardrail shot?
You can't hurt Jody. You can't hurt Jody. You just, you hit him as hard as you can. That's the gimmick, babes. Yeah, I killed him, but he liked it. He was going over. You got to give him something to remember me by. We had a wicked match, and of course, can't wait for it to come onto TV. Bravo, wicked, we're going to get over. And comes on, and they show like 2 minutes of the match. I was like, what the fuck just happened? Turns out, because I thought it was the FWA who were editing it, I guess. But it turns out that it was Bravo editing it, so obviously they haven't got a clue what a good match or a good match isn't, so they just saw it as all the first round matches they had to slice up into a certain amount of time. And unfortunately, because it was one of the first matches, it got cut up. And it's just a shame that they couldn't release it on DVD or get the rights to it, FWA somehow, and properly release that DVD, because it was an awesome show. Jody went over at the finish, we had Dynamite and stuff. We all came out onto the stage congratulating him, the confetti. Wicked night, it was a highlight, definitely in my career, and I was just happy to be a part of it.
Okay, fast forwarding a little bit to July of that year, you tagged up with Jody, sort of reluctant tag team, and faced the FWA, I suppose, tag team champions at that time, the New Breed in Telford. Thoughts on that?
That was when they first wanted to tease dissension, I think, within FWA storylines. At Revival it was just whatever, it didn't matter, it was an FWA show. Of us two falling out, and then we were going to feud properly, right, as I remember. And we were in Telford. I've been at Telford a few times before for All Stars, so they kind of knew me there, which was good. Jody was really over. And we wrestled the New Breed, who were the champs at the time, and I love the New Breed. They're cool guys, they look good, they got a wicked gimmick, but as far as I'm concerned, this is not a diss into them, but they just weren't ready. They hadn't wrestled a lot. I mean, they didn't do the circuit like a lot of the guys do now, and learn your trade like that way. They'd only do FWA shows, I guess it was, or, someone whose friend is putting on a show and stuff like that. So they weren't learning as much as they could, and I think it wasn't so much a styles clash, but they didn't know how to put a match together, and me and Jody tried our best to work around that. But of course they want to get as much as their shit in as possible, which you allow to a certain extent, but when we got in the ring, they're fucking up their own shit. So what can you do, And as I recall, the finish got screwed up, and like, so stupid, like one of them got hit the ropes or fell off the top rope, and he was meant to hit a spot on me, which was going to be the finish, so it all went to shit. And I just took over for like 2 minutes, boom, 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 hit a couple of false finishes off the top of my head. Crowd were like really up to it, and then Jody was on the outside selling. He had to stay down this whole time, so he didn't know what was going on, because the finish was meant to be then. And I think I missed a moonsault and then just said, hit something devastating on me, hit something fucking shit. So I kicked out of it, because, me and Jody, we're meant to be, for the first time, this big tag team, You can't just go down like that, and then they hit something a bit better, a bit bigger. Of course, poor Jody's out there selling still, so, and that was the end of the match. But it's not their fault. It's just that they haven't got the experience or the knowledge, and they needed to work a lot more shows before they were put into that position. And they went over on us, and that was my thoughts on the match. It wasn't time.
After that, shortly, you faced Justin Richards at the FWA at No Surprises 4 as part of the wind down for the old school angle, with the stipulation being that if you were to beat Justin, he would leave.
Retired,
Yeah,
right?
shortly after that, you signed an exclusive retainer contract with UCW. What was the details of the contract? What promises were made that led to you signing the exclusive contract?
At the time, it wasn't purely run by Ross Boscawen. Contrary to popular belief, it was a company called Sports Mondial, and they were ticket touters, and they had a base in London, in Green Park, cool little office, and they made money, you know, they made money fast, and they said that they were in for the long haul, you know, they were prepared to lose X amount of pounds and give wrestling a chance, which they weren't, because as soon as they saw how much they were losing, they were like, shit, we need to pull the plug on this, but they obviously gave us contracts, so they had to fulfill that. The day I signed, sorry, getting back to the original story, there was 3 people in the office anyway. It was Ross, Phil Powers and Steve Linsky. Brought in as the wrestling people to like recommend wrestlers, you know, book the shows, whatever. When we came in, there was, I think it was about 8 of us who got signed. Me, Jody didn't sign because they weren't able to stop going to Japan. So,
Danny Royal,
Kerry
Cabrero,
Stevie Knight, Doug, Flash. Okay, and we got £1,000 signing on the fee, which was tremendous. I was so happy with that. And for the first show, we got £600 just to work.
That was at Dagenham, right?
Dagenham, Goresbrook Leisure Centre.
And
But
who
at
did you
that
face
point,
then?
Ross was booking. I worked Danny Royal and Stevie Knight in a 3-way, and it sucked. I did a moonsault to the outside from the top, and even with 2 of them, sorry Steve, I like you, they didn't catch me for shit, which was ridiculous. Ross had this bright idea of putting me with a manager who's like 10 foot tall, and she was a munter, which didn't help. I remember best part of that show was backstage. They had stripper dancing girls who they had warm up the crowd before the show, and they were getting their tits out. So we were just watching them get their tits out and trying to pull them. Someone pulled one of them, I'm sure they did. I don't know, but they were fit. And that was my memories of that show. Ross was booking at the time. Linsky got kicked out because they realised...
Do you remember the end of the show at Dagenham? No?
End of the show. Oh, I remember Alex doing LX Blade as a robot against Scotty Rock.
Something to do with
What was the end?
Paul Sloan doing a run-in and having 12,000 people standing on their feet, having Paul Sloan just stacked into the turnbuckle.
Yeah, I remember that one, and I remember Blackpool UWA when he slid. He was running down the ramp, and it was on an ice rink. It was covered, but he just stacked it, went flying face first, and he actually went underneath the ring. And you can see on the tape, you don't see it happen, but you see the whole front row go, "Ah!" Which is probably a good thing. Yeah, that was all I remember from Dagenham. It was
How long was the initial contract for UCW?
a year. They ran one more show in Coventry, which was better, a lot better. Ross, actually, I made Ross promise me, because I was living with Ross at the time, because he had to move down from Scotland, where he was from, to Harlow, to get into London every day for work. I made Ross promise me if the company was going tits up, he put me on with Jody for one show, because I knew we'd, you know, have an amazing match and blow the roof off the place. And he knew a good few months before they put on that, maybe not a few months, maybe a month or 2 months before UCW commentary, that after that show it was over, because he knew what was happening back at the office. It was just that he was getting bollockings, he was getting shit on, he was getting talked to like an idiot and stuff. They treated him like shit. And he gave it his best shot, you know, but it came to commentary and he thought, fuck it, Johnny, go on with Jody, do your shit. He tried to book it as best he could. I didn't think it was a bad show. They got the people in, but I guess a lot of it might have been paper. I know Dagenham was a lot, maybe like 400 paid or something, and there was 1,000 people in there. Commentary might have been the same, but I had really high hopes after that, but it just fizzled out, you know, and that was it. We had right trouble, because the contract was we were to get £100 a week, and we weren't getting paid, and it got to like £800 or something stupid. So there was about 4 or 5 of us went down to the office one day, me, Danny Royal, Doug, maybe Flash, We wanted our fucking money, you know, and they were like, they wouldn't let us see like this main guy, I can't remember his name. And he comes into this room eventually to talk to us, and he like whips out like $1,000 or something, gives us about 200 each, and then promises us that we'll have checks by the end of the week or whatever. And the contract was that we weren't allowed to work for anybody else. I thought, fuck this. Yeah, actually before that I thought, fuck this, because it was around the camps time. I just started doing the camps and taking my money. Fuck them, you know, because why should I? You know, they were meant to pay us every week this £100, and they didn't pay us for like 8 weeks or something ridiculous like that, and I was relying on that money, as I'm sure everybody else was. So I just started doing shows as well, and they don't know about it. So that's the way that was.
Okay, so shortly, well, around this time really, there was a meeting, and the management was obviously very pro the company, despite, they say, Ross may have known that it was on the way out. You think?
Ross knew it was over, but I didn't think he wanted to show it. He cut... No, that was Dagenham. Was it Dagenham? No, it was Coventry. Yeah, he just cut his fucking poorly promo. But the funny thing was, he went mad. He's a little guy, Ross. He's like 5'5" or something like that. And he goes really red when he gets angry. Fuck ECW. Fuck Andrew Martin. Fuck the UWA. This is UCW. And all that sort of bollocks. And he cut this promo, and then he stormed out. Right, so I was like, alright son. And then Drew McDonald, he starts cutting it, taking the piss out of Ross. He's like, okay bud, fuck ECW, fuck Andrew Martin. And Ross comes back in, just as he's doing it. And Drew's like, hey bud. That was it. Everyone just creased up to laughter, and just, that was it.
Were you happy with your match with Jody? I mean, there were around 2,000 people there, and as you saw, I'm sure as you remember, you got a standing ovation. I'm sure as you know, the match is still stuck in a production office somewhere because UCW never paid the production company. So the match is lost to the ages.
Yeah. Yeah, a good mate of mine, Mark Sloan, has got a copy though. Yeah. He was filming it at ringside, and Ross on his power trip spotted Mark filming it, so for copyright reasons or whatever, he was like, shut the camera. So I've actually got the copy, and it's got Mark running back up the aisle, but I think he was facing the ring still, so the camera's like that on the ring on the way back. So bless his heart, he saved the match for us, so we had a copy. He's good like that. And yeah, I was happy. That was a good moment. It's always good to wrestle in front of a lot of people and in a big place.
I remember the word at the time with UCW was that they were prepared to go on a 26-day tour, I believe, and prepared to lose up to £5,000 a show. This was just after the UCW show in Dagenham. Do you know what happened there?
I don't know. It rings a bell vaguely, but I didn't know too much about that.
After the UCW show, the rumour was that you yourself and Jody Fleisch were due to receive a WWE tryout. Your thoughts on this and what actually happened behind it?
We only got told about maybe a week and a half before it was supposed to happen. We knew they were coming to England, but we never really thought about going for it or doing anything for it. And it was Mo Chatra who was the hookup, as far as I know. And he just called us both and he said, guys, I got you on WWF house show, doing a dark match before the pay-per-view or whatever it was, and you know, be ready. And we couldn't believe it, you know. We thought, oh wow, we better get down to the gym, because I guess they'd only want like 4 or 5 minutes, so we'd have to work out a match, maybe sort of that sort of length, and like we wanted to show different aspects of what we could do. So like, you know, we do a little bit of wrestling, then we do a little bit of, you know, I don't know, flying, a little bit of psychology. Just, we wanted to just show them a little bit of everything in the match, the fundamentals, basics, that sort of stuff. And it all fucked up. I don't know exactly what happened. I heard a couple of versions, but we were under contract to UCW at the time, and Ross was quite on the pulse of wrestling because it was his job to be. And the most plausible thing I'd say, I guess, was Ross maybe put a spanner in the works, so to speak. Not to be a dick, but he was protecting his company. You know, we were contracted wrestlers. Well, I was a contracted wrestler, should we say. And maybe a phone call was made, or it was made known that we were contracted wrestlers, and if we were used, then we would, there would be, you know, further action taken, I guess. I don't know. But I was gutted. But what can you do? It's not hard to get a dark match anyway, you know what I mean? If you live anywhere near where the WWF run in America, you just turn up and say you're a worker and they'll put you in the ring, you know? So, maybe one day. I'm not too fussed at the moment.
Okay, just to clarify, your reason for leaving and how you left UCW.
Just because the company folded.
And how did you find that out, and how did that all come about?
I don't know. It must have been Ross just coming home and saying it's all over. He was upset. And I don't know, there was no... I don't know if we lost money. No, we did get paid up to date actually. Because I think they thought, fuck it in the end, you know. They probably owed us like 300 or 400 quid. And they must have sent out checks or something like that just to like finally wash their hands of it, you know what I mean? Because they lost so much money. Probably wasn't that much, but it was a few £1,000. But they were into the business of making money, which any business is, and they weren't prepared to stick it out and make a go of it, which was unfortunate. We actually, one thing we missed was we got on big breakfast for UCW, which was cool. I had a little pull apart with Johnny Vaughan, which wasn't planned or anything, it was totally improv, because they were just going down the line of people, and he was pissing me off because he was a little bit disrespectful towards one of the guys in something he said. So when he came to me, I was like, you Johnny Vaughan, you know, you think you're the big and all this sort of stuff. And he got up and got in my face, so I got up, and it actually came off really cool because they went right to commercial, as like everyone pulled us apart, and that was fun. Did Channel 5 News as well with Ross, which was alright. We got a bollocking though because we didn't mention the date or the place where the wrestling show was. We just talked shit for like 5 minutes, and that's about it. We used to do, but I can't for the life of me remember exactly what happened, how it all finished, but it's one of those things. It's another in the long list of wrestling's failed projects. Promises made, promises broken. You know, you're going to be a star and have it taken away from you. As like Jody always says, you know, he's one of the most level-headed guys I know, and he never takes these things seriously, you know, till it happens, and he's right. I always get my hopes up and have my dreams taken away, so I'm stupid.
Okay, one of the next matches of note was London Calling for the FWA, and you started off a tournament for the XPW television title, European Championship, sorry, in against Super Crazy.
That was in Broxbourne. What was it, Hoovy?
Was it?
In Walthamstow wrestled.
Okay, Hooven too, sorry.
Was it who?
Okay.
Oh, it was on the wrestling channel a little while ago, that's why it springs to mind. Awesome. First time I met her? No, maybe not, because I was in XPW before then, was it? Had I started before?
Yeah, you'd been in before.
Do the four-way with Roy and Jerry and Joey Matthews. Yeah, that's right. So I knew Hoovy from that, but we hadn't wrestled as singles, and I was really looking forward to it because he was one of my heroes in WCW. Wicked match. For the first time in my life I worked on the right hand side, because in wrestling we work on the left because he's Mexican, so I thought it'd be cool if we did a little bit on the right. So if you watch the match at the start, like the lockups on the right hand side, and we do a little bit of wrestling and chain on the right hand side, which was cool. Had a really good match. Hoovy's fantastic, really good guy. He had a bad reputation, but he was fine with me. It was really good backstage and stuff. Everyone liked him. he did his job. He was cool, you know. Had fun. I like Walthamstow. I miss that venue. I can't remember why. There's something to do with why we can't go back there. Nothing we did, but might be because it was really expensive or something like that. But it was a cool hall to have. But yeah, Walthamstow was good.
Backtracking a little to your first trip to XPW, you had the four-way with Zebra Kid, Jerry Lynn,
Joey
Matthews.
I did a Jody that night. Not too many people know because I don't think it's seen that much. I haven't even got a tape of it. I know there is one doing the rounds. In the XPW arena, ECW arena, there's a big, like, it's not a balcony, but it's like a massive ledge, and it's probably about as high as Jody's balcony dive was, and I thought, well, if there's 3 dudes catching me, then I'll do the moonsault off it, you know. So in the middle of the match, I just went up top and, crazily enough, done the moonsault. Jerry missed me, Roy missed me, and thank God Joey Matthews like caught me real good, so I was fine from it, and we had a good match. That was our first experience in XPW with Rob Black and that, and one of their first few shows they ran at the arena. They wanted to eventually gut it all out, redo it, put in new toilets, put in like a decent dressing room, stuff like that, because it was a right shithole. And yeah, they wanted to do some good stuff with it, and it all sounded real good. They had a really good crew of guys, and I was excited to be a part of it, you know.
Yeah. So, what sort of things did they promise to you? And did they?
The belt,
you know,
the European belt, because they wanted to, I guess, expand internationally eventually. But no promises were made. But everything that they did promise me, as far as money and taking care of us and stuff, was fulfilled, you know.
Okay, so obviously with the XPW European belt, the final was just a little later on. That was against Jerry Lynn, was it?
Jerry Lynn, yeah.
And that was it.
Broxbourne.
Broxbourne.
That's one of my favourite matches, and I have seen it actually, but I haven't got like a proper edited copy of it from what I can remember, because the crowd were wicked. The crowd was so into the false finishes. I think we did yeah, I hit the cradle power driver on Jerry and he kicked out, and
did he hit the rewind Frankenstein on you?
No. Damn you. But we did something like that where he hit it. He hit the cradle on me and I kicked out of it. I just remember the forces at the end of the match were fucking excellent, and the crowd was so up for it. And obviously, winning the XPW European title was fantastic, and it done a world of good for my career.
Shortly after this, you competed at FWA Seasons Beatings. It was a round-robin tournament composed of yourself, AJ Styles, Jody Fleisch, and Doug Williams. As I say, round-robin tournament. Can you take us through your first 2 matches? Your first match was with Doug Williams, and your second was with Jody Fleisch.
Yeah, we were on first, me and Dougie. Love working Doug. Doug's fantastic. Memories of the match. I thought it was a real tight match, real good. Happy with it. Apart from a lovely bit of editing by the FWA guys. I fucked up the rewind. And it was near the finish. He boosted me over, I jumped back. And ended up behind him and landed on my feet. Just like, so we're back to back now. I was like, oh shit. And I think I just turned around, like rolled him up or something like that, and we went to it a little bit later on and we hit it good, and they managed to edit it all real good. Second match was with Joe. We did the 720 on the outside, which fucking killed me, but it looked sweet, because he did it off a guardrail rather than the ropes. And I was injured. And that's where the storyline went, you know. I seem to remember it was my idea to do the fucking finishes for the start of the match, which I thought was awesome because we've worked each other so many times. Loved it. I thought, fuck dude, what if we just go in there, hit our finishes straight away? You reckon they'll pop for like, hit the finish straight away, 1, 2, 3, you reckon they might buy that as a finish at the start? And I thought it went real well. And we changed it all up. We did some different shit in the match, and I liked it.
Okay, from there, WXW in Germany started flying you over quite regularly. How did you find it over there? Nothing specific, just sort of generally.
Awesome. Crowd are good everywhere. Europe is the best, including England, of course. I love wrestling in England, but Germany's a different world out there because there's no barriers or anything. They're all up on the ring, banging it while you're working. She could tentatively kick them in the face if you want as you come off the ropes, but they love it. If you boot one of them in the chops, it wouldn't make much difference to their facial features over there, but they'd love it. They'd be like, "Oh, I was kicked in the face by Jonny Storm, Schnell." But yeah, they're wicked, really respectful. I like that. I like respectful, smart fans. I do like smart fans, but I like it when they're respectful, and they're there to enjoy it, and they're there to lose themselves within wrestling, and that's what it's all about. It's fun.
Okay, that finishes off 2002, where you were voted Pro Wrestling Illustrated number 128th best wrestler in the world. And moving on to March 2003, your TNA debut, where you wrestled Red and Kid Cash in a three-way. Your thoughts on that, and what did you think of TNA?
It was a different place. The last time I did TNA to when the first time I did TNA, it's so different. It's crazy. The first time I did it was... they were just getting established, I think. I don't know how long they've been going. Not too long. But everyone was there, and you could tell they wanted to get this fucking thing going, And I wrestled Red and Cash. First time I worked Red, and we had some really cool shit down. Cash was cool with me as well. It's the first time I've ever done one of those. They said, I didn't know what they meant, but it's one of those things when, when an upcoming match is coming up and they have the wrestler doing something like that and then posing to the camera, they just said 10 seconds. So I just stood in front of the camera going like this. And then he goes, "You got to do something." I was like, "Oh shit!" Like that, is it? And I was just like, and all this sort of stuff, which was cool. I remember seeing it, and the match was really well received. From what I can remember, they were really happy with it. TNA was sweet. It's a lot smaller than you think it is. It looks on TV though when you get in there, which is cool. It's literally not far at all from, like, once you're down the ramp, you're at the ring basically. It's not like a long walk or anything like that. But it's nice, tight, and the crowd are decent. They're up for it. And
TNA brought you back at the beginning of April for a great big 8-way tag match involving yourself, Elix Dipper, Chris Daniels, a number of others.
That's on the Best of Their X Division DVD, someone said.
Any memories from the match or anything?
I was tagging with Chris Sabin. That was his debut there. He was good. I worked Jerry before he was in the match. I think we did the start, but it was real quick. We had 8 of us, man, and they only gave us by the time our team got eliminated, which I think was second, we could have only have had 5 minutes. So what can you do in 5 minutes? You do as much as you can. What I can remember, that was good.
Okay. Did they make you any promises or anything?
The contract, when I first did TNA, I got it at home. I got a TNA contract. It's for, I think it was for 3 shows. But that was it. That's it.
And the details of the contract, what were?
Just guaranteeing me 2 more shows. That was it. And the money. That was it. All came through. We got paid the week after we do the shows. Sometimes one time in cash and one time in check.
Fast forwarding quite a bit to British Uprising 1. You faced AJ Styles there, another great big time wrestling show, big promises made.
Yeah,
Bethnal Green, what were your thoughts on the match and when you entered the arena?
Bethnal Green, man, I didn't know anything about... no fucking parking, Bethnal Green. Jesus how anyone can get to that place if they've got a car, you're fucked. I was lucky because my girlfriend at the time, she lived in Tottenham. So it was only like about 20 minutes up the road, but to get in park, it'd take like an hour just driving around, just hoping someone will pull out. Bethnal Green though, wicked venue. I hope FWA run that again, which I think they will, hopefully, soon. Loved it. Fucking excellent. British Uprising one was. Worked AJ as well. And pleasure, absolute pleasure. Nicest guy in the world. Fantastic wrestler. I mean, what can be said about AJ which hasn't been said? You know, we, like me and Jody, we gel like that, you know, and the crowd loved the match. They'd never seen anything like it before. I think it was the first time I ever did the, when the guy press slams me off the second rope and I spin it into the DDT off the top. That was the finish. Fucking awesome. I think it was match of the year, eh? Got voted match of the year and I was so happy with that. You know, I mean, I don't know who votes these things, the fans, I guess, but that was a real feather in the cap, you know, because that's a testament to how good he is, you know, and I loved every second.
Okay, did you see the rest of the show?
Yeah, I saw the three-way at the start, and I was like, wow, I'd never seen a three-way like that before, never. I guess they had their shit down, you know, and I'd love to, whenever I do three-ways now, I try to think back to some of the spots they did. I haven't watched it enough, I've only seen it a couple of times, but I really should go home and like watch it a good few times so I know some of the three-way spots get in my head, because the way they were like in and out and back into this and that was fucking excellent. Academy guys.
Okay, from there, pushing on, Frontiers of Honor, you and AJ, the second one.
Yeah, people were saying it was like not as good as the first one and stuff like that, but the dynamics are different. In the first one, we're both baby faces, okay? So that's a match there. This time it's heel and babyface, so of course the match is going to be different. You know what I mean? What do they expect? If it's not to people's taste, then fair enough. But I liked it because I thought it had more depth, because there was character involvement this time rather than just the two generic baby faces, you know, with the split audience. And what did we do? Linsky fucked the finish. He didn't count 3 on the Springboard 450. And they covered it up on the DVD, I believe, by adding like a bonk or something on the third. But you can tell at the end of it, AJ's like, yeah, fucker. What can you do? It happens, I guess. Good old Simon. Match was good. I was real happy with it. Really happy with it.
Okay, did you see the rest of the show?
Uprising. Well, no, it weren't. Frontiers of Honor. Who was in the main event?
Standout matches, you had James Ty and Paul London opening. Flash Barker and Low Key. Yeah. And main event you had Chris Daniels and Jody.
Yeah. Yeah, no, fucking hell. Just look at the pedigree of guys you got there, man. Jesus Christ, how can you not have a good show? You know what I mean? Loki got injured, eh? Yeah, he got injured in that match, but he still got through it, you know. He's a fucking tough guy. He's a good guy. Jody and Daniels was always going to be good. London and James fucking set the show off wicked. That's it. Nothing but good memories, you know.
Okay, you were travelling out several times following this to TNA, competing as part of their X Division tournament, I believe, was it? You wrestled an opening round match against Teddy Hart. Your thoughts on the match and of Teddy Hart?
Teddy came in, and it was the first time he was in pretty much America for like a wrestling independent company or whatever, so nobody really knew him, so they were all like showing him respect and stuff like that and kissing his ass, maybe even a little bit, just because he's Brett's nephew or whatever. And he was alright to me, he was cool to me, you know, but he's out there, you know, he's really, it's true what people say, he's just in a different world. I'd go to Japan now and he's on the tours as well and he's still the same as he's ever been. Memories of the match though, fuck, they gave us like 6 minutes or something originally, and then just we go through the curtain, they said you got 4. Or in the ring they might have said that actually. So we just went, and it was good. It was fucking good. But the best thing about the match was he fucked up the shooting star press, and you don't see it on the tape because it was actually taped. I don't think it was taped after the live taping. It must have been, I guess, so they could show it next week. He slipped on the shooting star, landed on his head. So I picked him up, gave him a Michinoku driver, like missed something off the top, and then they told him to do it again. He hit it again. They just cut it all in, and everything was hunky dory. But I was patted on the back for that when I got backstage by Jerry Jarrett. People like saying, "Well done, you know, you covered up real good for that." And he was pissed, Teddy. He was pissed, and you could tell people just fucking loving it. You know, I mean, he fucked up. 'Cause he's backstage going, "I never fuck up," and all this sort of stuff. Like, "Oh, it happens, mate."
Okay, moving on to Uprising 2 now. You had your match with Just Incredible, and of course the infamous bomb scare, which delayed the show for just about an hour. Your thoughts on the on that and the show and your match with Justin?
Bomb scare was stupid. The police turned up and everything, didn't they? They chucked us all out. I thought it was a rib. I thought it was a fucking rib. We got kicked out. Made to wait round, which obviously delayed the show, pissed the fans off, cost FWA a shitload of money for overtime security, overtime on the hall and stuff. I guess it was done to fuck FWA up. I don't know. They have boxing there quite regularly, and I had heard stories that there'd been bomb threats phoned in before to boxing events, so unless just someone's been a fucking cock and just trying to fuck up events for shits and giggles or whatever. But I know it could have been personal, but you know, we got the show done, which was the main thing. Working Justin was decent. We didn't do anything special because he didn't really want to, and I just shaved my nut actually. I still got it, which was cool. That was probably the most memorable thing about that night for me. Got a wicked pop because I came out with the beanie and he just ripped it off and he was like, "Oh!" I think it was a "Where's your hair gone" chant as well, which is sweet. Yeah, PJ, he didn't really want to do much because he's pretty fucked. He's bad. He's back. He's pretty bad. So he wasn't up for it too much. But the match I thought was good, you know, for just a standard match, you know. Heel babyface. Decent, didn't need much more, but what can you do?
Okay, this I think leads us to another January tour in the US. A couple of shots with CZW, a couple of dates with TNA. This is just before you fly out to Japan.
Oh yeah, who is it? What was CZW show? Oh, I remember working Nick Burke on one. I don't know if that was it. TNA. Who did I wrestle in TNA? Oh my god. Oh, I wrestled X. And that was on Explosion. Fuck. That X is Jean-Pierre Lafitte, the guy who was one of the Quebecers, the bigger guy. And they pushed him to the moon when he came in. And he's meant to be X division, no limits and everything, like, but everyone's like a cruiser. Apart from this guy, he's like 250 pounds, and he just comes in and destroys the whole X division in one night. And they wanted to push him, he didn't get over, and I did an alright match with him on Explosion. Nothing to it. Who else did I wrestle on TNA?
Wasn't there also an X Division Battle Royal with X in?
Oh yeah, yeah. Battle Royal. Did a bit with Shark Boy in there from what I can remember. Spot where I did the double bounce Rana onto him off the top, and he landed onto X. X caught him in mid like flip or whatever and like hit his finish or something like that. Worked a little bit with Sanjay actually in the battle royal. That was good. Always good to work Sanjay. He's good. Can't remember what else I did. Was that it in America? I did Ring of Honor again. Was that then? I worked a four-way with me, Slick Wagner Brown, and Special K in... Where the fuck was it? It was in Boston or somewhere, because I travelled down with the Backseat Boys. That was a good day, man. We travelled down from Philly. Of course we're late because they're fucking like Jody, man. Just like getting them out of bed and getting them ready to go and shit. And we left real late. Got there like halfway through the show. But we stopped. It was Connecticut. Sorry, it wasn't Boston. It was Connecticut. And we stopped off at Titan Towers, so Johnny Cashmere could take a piss in one of the nearby like $1 million houses, like. And I was just marking, man. I was in the back of the car, and like, Titan Towers is here, Cashmere's taking a piss here. So I was like, oh yeah, that was sweet. I really seen the old little WWF logo at the top of it. That was, I hadn't marked out for a long time, and I did mark out for that. That was good. Got to Ring of Honor, had a decent match. They were happy with it. Feinstein was there, Gabe was there. That was the night Dan Maff got knocked out by Low Key. At the end of the show, he was out of it, man. That wasn't a work or anything. He was fucking out. What happened that night? Karina was there. Just the general guys. Everyone was cool. Ring of Honor ring is like fucking trampolino, man. Too much for my personal taste, you know. It was really, really springy. But it's a good ring. The ropes are good, and it's a decent size as well. It's not like mad, crazy.
Right, shortly after that, you debuted for 01. Can you tell us a little bit about how that came about? Who organised that?
Steve Corino. He's the booker for the international guys. I'd wrestled Steve Corino for Scott Conway over here in England. He loved it. And that was good. That was in Southampton. I've done a few shows with Steve. Got on really well with Steve, man. He said, we'll go bring you in sometime, and that was the time. It was actually 01 USA shows, where they brought in a few more Americans just to like show off what they can do in Japan. And the first night we were in Osaka, which is the next sort of biggest city in Japan other than Tokyo. It's like an 8-hour drive, which was horrible. But I wrestled that night. It was me and Tom Howard from UPW, is it? Against Steve Corino and what's his name? Oh God. Amore. Tanaka Amore. Something like that. We had a good match. We had about 1,000 people in, which was sweet. Steve was happy with it. Next day we did a pay-per-view in Tokyo from Diffa Erope, it's called, in this Noah's home base, and it's such a cool arena. It's made for TV. And I wrestled, it was me and someone else, sorry, against the two gay guys from Ring of Honor. Christopher Street Connection. We wrestled them on pay-per-view, and it was decent. Well, you have to do their match, I guess. That's what you do, you know. But it got over, and that night we went to in Roppongi is where we stayed, and they got a little wrestling bar there, so like totally devoted to wrestling. So we watched a pay-per-view down there, which was sweet. And then come home, flew Virgin, had a whole row to myself, so I just laid down and watched movies, which was excellent.
This was your first time in Japan, yeah?
Yeah.
How did you find it over there? Was there any culture shock, language barrier?
They speak Japanese in Japan, so I speak English, so it was a little bit different. Not much a culture shock. The language barrier is a bit dodgy. The food is hard to order or eat, but as long as you like noodles and rice, I guess you can get away with it. The rooms are tiny, but the fans are tremendous. So respectful, ridiculously, you know. It makes you feel like a star, you know, which is fantastic, you know. It's a really great feeling.
Okay, moving on from Japan, coming back to England and to FWA after a short break in Brent Town Hall for New Frontiers. where a guy, I believe on your recommendation, was brought in, X-Dream.
I paid for his ticket, and I got refunded, don't worry. But yeah, just to help him out, because I could pick him up and stuff. I paid for his ticket. I wrestled him in Germany, and it's Jody Part 2, you know. Not as crisp, but he's there with the flying and stuff, you know, and he looks wicked, you know, he's built and he's got a good look. And we got to Brent, another wicked venue, you know, first time they run it there, and that was really good. Extreme, man, we worked out quite a lot of stuff, because I know he was nervous, man, and I thought we've got to do a wicked match to get him over, so they bring him back. And thank God, touch wood, you know, we done a real good one that night, and the crowd were up for it, big time. And he loved it. Who else was there? Carino was there. Someone else, was there another foreigner there?
Was it Raven and Punk?
Raven and Punk, yeah, that's it. And they put it over as well, so I was happy.
Moving on from there, you faced James Ty in Morecambe in a loser leaves FWA match.
Yeah, Morecambe, wow. The last time we saw Jonny Storm in the FWA. Yeah, that was some good times, man. James is cool. We haven't worked a lot at all, me and James, maybe like 2 or 3 times. Not even on a All-Star or anything like that. I don't think we've worked. And he's good. He's real good. He needs, I think he needs to do the circuit though. Like, just to get polished up, you know. He's got all the tools and everything, you know, but he needs to work a lot more. Like, wrestle a lot more, I mean, rather than just doing... Because he's not one of these guys who does like a few shows, isn't he? Like a month where if he could get out there 5 days a week, he'd be like fucking shit hot. No, but he's good, man. He's got it. And we had a cracker that night, I do believe. And I think we got some more good shit to come, because that was just tip of the iceberg, man. Once you get going with someone, I think me and James are gonna have a real good series coming up soon.
So you went down, you lost that match, and had to leave the FWA. Coincidentally, you managed to land yourself in a tour of Thailand.
Fuck, I was lucky, wasn't it?
Straight afterwards, yeah.
Mr. Scott Conway had emigrated to Thailand, Pattaya, and he arranged a tour, man, and it was 3 months. It was going to be 3 months. Wrestling over there every day. Money was decent, but one thing I've learned from wrestling, and this goes back to Spain Slam 2001, FWAs, always take these trips abroad, you know, when they come up, because they never come off, but you get a good few weeks of getting paid and doing fuck all, you know. And we were out there, they flew us in, and it was meant to start about 3 or 4 days later, and the venue wasn't even ready, it wasn't even built. It was like they were going to convert this whole top section of this place into like a wrestling arena, and nothing was done. So we had about another 2 weeks of getting paid for doing fuck all, hanging out, pulling birds, until it got going, and it was good, man. We had a video wall in there, a little rampway, it was a cosy little maybe 200 seater. Everything was covered, you know, they had it all sorted, except Scott entrusted to these Thai people a little bit too much, like the publicity and stuff like that, and they didn't really fulfill their end of the bargain. We did a couple of national televisions in Bangkok, which was wicked. I got them on tape, and it didn't happen, you know. I don't know whether it was because it was low season, because they have a low season in Thailand and then a high season when all the tourists come and stuff, but where we were is purely a sex place pretty much. You could put on, like, if you opened up a strip club there, it'd be packed every night, and tourist buses would be coming around there like every 5 minutes, and they were relying on these tourist buses to come through for the wrestling. And these Thai people never fulfilled, you know, their promise of these people coming, so Scott stuck it out for about 6 or 7 weeks, And then it went tits up, which is a fucking long story. I can't be arsed going into it. But I ended up just staying in Bangkok for a week with all the guys. I had a Thai girlfriend at the time as well. I stayed with her for a week and then come home early and went into... what was next?
Your FWA petition to get your job
Get
back.
your job.
And so yeah, any memorable skits from that?
And,
Hell yeah.
so
Of course, I did
you-
the promos from Thailand as well.
You did?
FWA flew out cameramen and
At their expense?
yeah, sound people. At least a crew of 10 FWAers, fuffers, I call them, to Thailand to film some promos of me on the beach, which wasn't Morecambe at all, and the lovely sunny weather. That was the northern sunshine. And yeah, I thought, fuck it. Let's have a-
What were some of the names you had on your signature list?
Ooh!
And these are all signed by the people themselves, right?
Right.
Absolutely. It had Mad Eli. You had Big Daddy was on there. I don't know how he got on there, but he was on there. John Copping, who's a very prominent name within the British wrestling. Brian Dixon, Ross was on there. Kenny was on there. The Rock signed it. I saw. We had that list, which was for the fans, and I had a kayfabe list just underneath it, and I forgot to take it out when I came out for the petition in the match, and I actually got pretty much the entire FWA roster to sign it, and I was going to flog it on eBay, just because I thought something like that would get some money. It had like Alex's and, you know, James, Doug, everybody. Doug actually signed it by his real name. I won't embarrass him, but find out what it is and take the piss out of him at the next show. Yeah, I had a kayfabe list underneath, and luckily it didn't get out, but it was like pretty much the whole roster signed it, which was cool. I was going to definitely do something with that. Wipe my ass, maybe.
Okay, so this brings us to British Uprising 3, where it was announced that FWA Commissioner Flash Barker would make he would review your status and make an announcement on the night. So can you take us through that?
What did happen? I handed in my petition, then they put it to the vote, didn't they? That all the active wrestlers in the FWA and staff and stuff, I guess, as well, had to vote. And if I had 51% of the vote, then I'd get back in FWA. And it was a really cool idea, you know. I didn't have anything to do. It was all Alex. He's a smart cookie. And I thought it came off really well. Flash done well. Jody was worried a little bit about his promos and stuff like that, but I gave him a couple of lines to say when he got out there, and he ad-libbed a little bit as well, and it came off really, really well. And the reaction was awesome because they were chanting, "We want Johnny" then, and I thought to myself, I should go out now, but that wasn't the plan. The plan was to go out at the very end. And I thought, oh shit, he's missed the boat here. But luckily, at the end of AJ James's match, when they're getting beat down, Jody gets beat down, "We want Johnny" again. I was like, fuck yes, this is the time. Come on, Ralph, hit the music, mate. He didn't hit it. I'm like, oh god, they're gonna go. Bang, he hit the music, come out, bang, place fucking exploded. That was one of the best feelings. I had my fake Versace Thailand suit on, and I was in there just having it, you know. Boom, 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 boom. Milk the crowd. Jody hits a dive, you bastard. Comes back in, sell. Milk it. AJ, love you. Milk. Let's go sell some gimmicks. Good night.
Tell us a little bit about Uprising 3. What did you think on the day when you turned up at the venue?
Well, we'd done Coventry a few times by then, haven't we? I don't know if they sectioned off more of it than... maybe they did. They sectioned off a little bit more than they did when we did it for UCW. But, perfect, brilliant idea, because it was fucking massive out there, and obviously for TV you've got to make it look as packed as possible, you know, and it was packed. which is a testament to, and especially for the ticket prices as well, how far FWA's come. And always excited on big shows. I don't get too nervous on shows nowadays unless they're big shows, and that was certainly a big show for me. And I was kind of gutted I wasn't wrestling that night, but the way it all turned out was well worth it. You know, I couldn't have asked for any more.
You obviously spoke to Jody beforehand as part of this was his first night back, so is there anything you can tell us about his return?
Yeah, I pulled his girlfriend's sister, and he knows it, and he's gutted about it as well. I hadn't seen him for a while, because I just got back from Thailand like the day before. I went a second time just for a holiday. And someone told me he was in the building, because he got there real fucking late, and those who know Jody, he's never late. Unless he's getting a plane. And if you'd have flown him in, he'd have never have got there. He sat up in one of the sky boxes just behind the curtain, and he could see the backstage area, but it was dark. So I'm down there. I could see he was up there watching it. I'm like, Jode, you know, you twat, look down here. And he couldn't see me, so I thought, fuck it. I put on like a t-shirt and a hat, and I wanted to just sneak out and up there, just go see him. And saw him, wicked to see him, you know. He was with his bird's sister and that. Thought, hello, Treacle. What's up? And we caught up a little bit. He came downstairs, it was time to work, we did our shizzle, and that was it. Went out to Jack's afterwards and partied. It was a very good night, but I can't tell you what happened that night. It was good. That'll be the X-rated version.
So your next encounter in FWA was for Gold Rush at the Broxbourne Civic Hall. You returned to your action. There was the Rumble, and you faced off against your good friend and one of the top technical wrestlers in the world, Chad Collier. Your thoughts on that match?
I love Chad, man. We met actually a long time ago. Not a long time ago, maybe a couple of years before, because we did an all-star tour for 3 months, and we were pretty much married together the whole time. Chad's a really quiet guy, but around me he's a little bit nutty. I don't know, I guess I'd bring it out of him, you know, make him a little bit more stupid, you know. But he was in quiet mode that day, I remember, because when he's new to somewhere, I guess he just looks around and has it, you know. And I thought the match was actually real good. I haven't seen it yet, but I know the match was good. But we were both on kind of a downer afterwards because the crowd were hard. And the reason for that is, it's partly my fault, because, and it's partly the FWA's fault, if truth be told, because I didn't have a fucking clue whether I was a babyface now or I was a heel. Because the last thing I did, we did the petition, but going into all this shit, even when I got reinstated, was I'm a heel, right? I was a heel. And I did the run-in at the end, it got a big babyface pop, and we did like the curtain call at the end and stuff. But did that make me a babyface, or am I still the heel, you know? So we kind of worked out the match where he's the face and I'm the heel. And I didn't, as I went out, they said, you're neither. Someone said, I think it might be Greg Lambert, said you're neither. So I went out there and I thought, well, I don't want to stand in the ring doing this shit, because I don't want to do that anyway, even if I was a babyface. I want to G up a different way now. And I don't want to say shut your mouth, because I'm not a heel and they'll boo me. So I sort of didn't really interact with the crowd like I normally do. And for me, the best thing in a match is heat. You know, it doesn't matter if we do a zillion moves and it's all perfect or whatever. To have heat, wicked heat in a match, anyone who knows me knows that's the way I am, is my ultimate, you know. And there was just, the crowd were kind of weird. They were split, you know. They wanted to cheer me, but because I didn't like acknowledge that, they did it a couple of times and then they sort of quit on it. And Chad, sort of came out as the babyface, and they shit on him a little bit because I don't know whether they didn't know him or what, but they should know him. He's, you know, one of Ring of Honor's top guys. So he sort of switched in the match. He turned heel and maybe started slagging him off a little bit. And I was still not playing up to the big babyface thing because I didn't really know what to do. And it was a good match though, you know. We were just down about it afterwards. I really want to see it on tape just to see if I'm right. You know, as long as the match was good, I'm happy. I'd like to have had like the heat there, but the match, from what I can remember, was good.
Okay, after that you took part in Gold Rush, the first Rumble style event for the FWA. Your thoughts on that?
I wasn't meant to be in the Gold Rush, mate. I was just doing the singles match, and Andy Simmons got sick, and they were one person short. So they said, you know, I got to the building, someone joked with me about you being in the Rumble, and Rumbles are the kiss of death. You never want to do fucking Rumbles in this country, because etc, etc. And I was like, yeah, good one, mate, yeah, I'm in the Rumble. And then Alex comes in, and he goes, oh, you're in the Rumble tonight? I was like, what? And he explained the situation, and I was like, oh shit, okay, well, let's do it, you know. And I came out, got fucking nailed by James in the face with a chair, which fucking hurt, and came back and win it. I used the powers of Stormomania, recovered, and won the Battle Royal, baby. And coming up soon, you're going to see a new FWA champion, Jonny Storm, I think.
This means you'll be facing Alex Shane. Will this be the first time since Hammerlock you've gone one-on-one with him?
Yeah, I don't think I've faced him in Hammerlock. Maybe once, like years ago. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to the match. It's going to be a right contrast of style, so it's going to be interesting to see how it comes out. But I reckon we're going to have a real good one, and I'm going to push Alex to his limits, man, and let him know what Jonny Storm's all about.
Okay, in December 2004 you go back to CZW for your Cage of Death show. Who did you face, and tell us a bit about that?
It was me and Alex Shirley against Roderick Strong, Ring of Honor guy, and one of his trainees. The ECW arena has now been redone. It is so much nicer in there. They've cleaned up the parking lot. There's not like dead bodies in there anymore and glass and shit. It's a massive, it's like a proper arena now, because before you could have people on each side, but like one row hard cam side, like 5 rows that side, then the main side, and then like maybe 2 rows this side. Now it's just a massive space. So you can put the ring right in the middle and have loads of people on every side, which is the way it should be. The problem is they've cut the dressing rooms like down to a quarter of what they were, and with like 1,000 guys on the Cage of Death, it was a bit cramped. Did the match was good. Crowd were there for the hardcore shit, simple as that. They were alright into it, but again, getting back to the heat, not the heat I would like to normally get in the match, but I think that match on another CZW show would have got over like a mother, you know, but they were there for the blood. So we were on like early, we were on about 2nd or 3rd, so I got to watch the rest of the Cage of Death, and it went on for 6 hours. Jesus Christ, you know. It's cool being there live, but my God, it was long. And I watched the Cages of Death, which were fucking crazy. Jack Evans, I saw that bump live, stupid backdrop or whatever he took when he hit the cage, and then laying on his butt on the floor. Thank God he was alright, but there was panic in the back, there was people crying. It was a scary, scary moment, and luckily he's alright. But that match was cool. They did some real innovative stuff, but shit like that, you know, I mean, I've done some crazy stuff in my time, but a match like that I wouldn't personally do, because I want at least some career longevity, you know, and you're not going to get it if you keep doing matches like that.
Okay, that about wraps it up. We're going to do a bit of word association now. Use as many words as you need to. over 1 is acceptable. We'll start off with British wrestling.
British wrestling is good. In my personal opinion, I don't think it will ever get back on mainstream TV, if I'm honest. I would love it to. I would absolutely love it to. For a few reasons. One, because there's not enough talented guys in this country. There are a lot of talented guys, but not enough. You need a good, 40, 50 good guys, ready for TV, ring gear, looking good, who can work. I don't think there's that many in this country. Bookers, storyline people and stuff. Who's got the experience? Who's done TV before in this country, Alex is good, but he's just one person. He could not do the whole thing, could he? He'd need help from people. The FWA, they got a good crew of guys, but they still need more people. You know what I mean? And who's got experience? Like I say, there's not enough people. If it can get on TV, please prove me wrong. But unfortunately, I don't think it's going to happen.
Okay, next is All Star Promotions.
All Star is good because it's good for wrestlers coming in, and it's even good for wrestlers now because you learn your trade, you learn from working different people, you learn to work in front of big crowds, and it is regular work, and it's not good money, but for what you lose out in your money, you're making up for in everything that you need to be a wrestler.
Okay, Brian Dixon.
Businessman. Not a wrestling promoter. I would say he's a promoter, not a wrestling promoter. I don't think he knows a whole lot about wrestling, but he knows how to make money, and that's the name of the game. Good luck to him.
FWA.
Home. My home. I'll always, touch wood, always be in the FWA, I always plan to be on with the FWA, regardless of where it goes. I was there at number 1 with Mark, Jody, George Castano, Scotty Rock, and Elazar Cabrera. They're my boys, man. I love them, and I always say to Mark every time at a show, we'll always have that special bond, it was Fratton then, or it doesn't matter what it was then, It would not be where it is today without Alex and people like that, but we were the building blocks, man, and we got it to a certain point where it couldn't go any further without them taking it and putting it here and bringing in other people and stuff, but we were the building blocks, man, and I'll never forget that. And I love Mark, I love Jody, I love George, I love Scott, and I wish Scott and George were here now to reap the benefits of what it's become. And that kind of upsets me in a way, and I'd like Mark to really be more of a part of it. I'm not just saying it. I don't know, Mark deserves a lot more than what he gets in FWA, I think.
Next name for you is Alex Shane.
We got a real checkered history, man. It's weird how it's happened. But where we are now is, we had a good talk about a year ago, got everything out, and we decided to start again. What's good for business, and I like Alex. I really do like Alex, man, and he's a smart guy, man. I like to have some sort of control over my career, and in FWA I don't think I had that much, but it's weird because everything he's done for me, like where he's done with the storylines, with the petitions and he wrote a letter on the internet one time, and it was supposedly from me to, I can't remember who it was to, but it was this long thing slagging people off. I think it was about the XPW European belt and why I turned on FWA at Frontiers of Honour, this part 2 or whatever it was, and he wrote that, and it sounded so much like it was from me. He knows me probably better than I know me, and I actually trust my career in that guy's hands at the moment because he's steered me pretty well, even though we might have had heat from time to time. He's steered me good, and I trust the guy as far as my career goes, and I like him personally now. You know, when we're sort of back to where we started, where we didn't know each other and we became friends, and that's where we are now. You know.
Okay. Premier Promotions.
Premier's cool. It's old school wrestling, man. It's rounds every match. Good experience. Good to learn. It's always useful to know stuff like that. You know, it's good for blowing up. When you blow up in the ring and you get around, you can just die in a corner. I just did a Japan tour and they made me do rounds, which I wasn't too happy about. I wrestled Chris Sabin and I just wanted a European style match, but luckily I could tell Chris, you know, I've done fucking shitty round matches before, and you know, this is how we can work it and stuff. So it comes in handy, man. I mean, hat off to the old school, mate. They know this shit, and you have to. It's all part of being a wrestler, you know, knowing that stuff too.
Okay, next name is John Fremantle.
Well, you see, Mark, I don't think I want any action on the outside of the ring. He, traditionalist. He loves wrestling, man. He loves old British wrestling, and that's what he puts on. Good luck to him.
Jody Fleisch.
Love him. He's my brother. He's a wanker. Yeah, I heard he called me a twat, by the way, yeah. Fuck it. I'm gonna shag his girlfriend's sister, so eat that. And cut!
George Castano.
He's my other brother, man. I love him. I love him. He fucking underrated. Really underrated. He's starting to get out a little bit now, though. He's doing RBW and he's like one of their champs. And I just did a show with him in
Trowbridge for UCW.
Yeah. And I watched his match, man. He was on with some green kid. No, he weren't green actually. He's been around a while, this guy who wrestled, but they had a good match, man. And George is so underrated, man. He needs to be back in the FWA getting the publicity and the exposure he deserves. Building block of the FWA number, what was it? Number 5. Me, Mark, Scott, George, Jody. Yeah, number 5.
Okay, Flash Barker.
Awesome. Flash was there for me when I really needed, not him, but I needed advice and stuff one time. He came through for me, man. We were at an all-star show and I was really down about some stuff. It was just for the first time me and Jody went to America. I was getting a lot of heat for something that was complete bullshit, and I was so fucking, I was like torn apart on what to do. And he came in and he just had a word with me and said, Johnny, mate, this is like a cut down version, but it was like, do it, don't make the same mistakes that I did, because you'll end up like me, which isn't a bad thing, but he regrets not going to America, you know, trying to get into Japan, Europe, wherever. He regrets that, you know, and I feel bad for him because he deserved to be there, and that advice really fucking helped me, you know. He was there for me and I appreciate it.
Okay, Doug Williams.
Brother, love him, wicked. From the start, mate, me and Doug Hamlock, watching him grow, develop, get where he's got, it's wicked. I always say to him, it's crazy, and Jody as well, how our paths have like started here. Doug sort of went over there, Jody went over there, I went a little bit over here. Oh, we've entwined again, you know. Our careers have gone like this. Doug's gone to Noah. Jody went to Michinoku. I went 0-1. Jody and Doug, Ring of Honor. Jonny Storm, XPW, you know. FWA. It's weird. It's weird, and I look forward to, in the years to come, to see how they overlap again, you know, because I'm sure we will.
Okay, finally, for word association, WWE.
Place to be, man. It's the money. This business, the bottom line is making money, and Japan, WWE, that's it. That's the bottom line, you know. I'd love to be in WWE, but I don't have any illusions of doing it, you know. If it happens, it happens, but you've got to be realistic of my size and stuff. What can you do? Hopefully, but if not, as long as I can make money, I'll be happy.
Okay.
I'm gonna try for Big Brother, and if I get into that, then fuck wrestling.
Okay, do you have any advice for anyone wanting to get into the business?
Yes. Best advice I can give you is, yeah, training school, man. A good training school, which there aren't a lot of. There are a lot of training schools, but there aren't a lot of good training schools, and you'll know the ones that are good. You know, it doesn't take me to say it. But there are, look at the credentials, look at the people who run them, look at what they've done in the business, you know. If you got Mr. fucking Dickhead running PNES Promotions, you know, and he's done nothing his entire career, then why would you go? What the fuck does he know, you know what I mean? You want to find a credible person running a credible company. Look at the facilities, you know. Make sure they're not going to just rip you off for money. You know, it's important. Get the fundamentals learned, get the basics learned, then get out there. Don't let anybody tell you, you know, you just wrestle for one person or whatever, because you're only going to get better when you wrestle more people and more often. And that's the best advice I can give you, mate.
Okay, what are your hopes for the future?
I want to make more money, you know. It's I'm at the point in my career now, I've been wrestling a few years, and now I'm starting to feel it. And it's the same for all of us, I guess, you know. I wanna make some money, and I wanna get out and live a decent, healthy life. I'll always, I guess, be part of wrestling because it's my life at the moment, you know. And I would love to just do what I'm doing, but make a lot more money at doing it, and be a little bit more choosy on what shows I can take.
Okay, and finally, any last words for the fans?
Yes. There's some very good porn sites on the internet. So instead of checking out JonnyStorm.com and all that sort of crap, go to .com, because it is awesome. Watch out for Baxter Burridge, Charlie Rage in the future, please, because they're going to be big stars, man, and that's my personal tip. Them boys. And keep supporting British wrestling, man, because you never know, one day, mate, it could be on TV again and you could be right there enjoying it, you know, because let's bring British wrestling back to the forefront, you know, in the world.
Thank you very much.